down. We the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard NFL. Going into week 8, season's almost halfway done, and we're seeing some trends. So we got a pretty good idea who's good, who's bad, but a lot of decisive, a lot of very important games coming up this week. Smokey, how you doing?
I am good. I am better than Packers fans right now because it looks like it's about to burn down in Green Bay, man. I think this was like the tipping point where we finally realized, yeah, the Packers are not going to be good without Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, Jordan Love, I almost called him AJ Love again. Jordan Love looked really bad, and it was almost like he was good for a quarter, maybe, if even a quarter. And then he just blows it at some point in the game, and it seems to be happening over and over again. But overall, all of these games were horrible, except for maybe one or two. It was a really bad week. We saw MVP candidates have absolutely horrible games. We saw
of them too.
Yeah, exactly. We saw Heisman candidates in college have absolute horrible games. Like it was a horrible week for football, but I guess it's better than no football. How are you?
Yeah, that's true. I'm good. I'm better than let me come up with something. Let's go Raiders fans, huh? I think we've used it before probably this year, but
yeah,
that should probably also be close to boiling over, similar situation to Green Bay. With the Raiders there, so, and I don't think it's going to get any better this week, by the way. I'll get into it, but we might see a coaching change there. Yeah, coming up pretty soon, so a lot of people seem dissatisfied, and rightfully so. Beaten up pretty bad by the Bears. Have the Bears found their new quarterback?
Oh, I was wondering that. I doubt it. I mean, yeah, that the Bears as a whole had a good game, but Tyson didn't go out there and look like Lamar Jackson or something this past week. But I don't know, maybe. I mean, if they keep winning when Justin Fields is ready to come back, do you put him in? This might be a PJ Walker situation also. If they keep winning, do you bring back the other quarterback? That's the question.
Yeah, that's a good question. A couple teams have decisions to make here. Speaking of quarterbacks, if you want to vote for who your MVP favorite is, current standings after week 7, you can do that on our channel community page. Let us know who your pick is to win NFL MVP if the season ended today. I think, I don't know if there's a lot of shakeup going on or not. To me, all the top guys had kind of questionable games. Tua, Allen, Purdy, even Jared Goff. And definitely Jared Goff. So,
yeah.
To me, if anything, it's just gotten a little bit closer at the top. I'd still give it to Tua because of all those other 3 guys not doing too well. I think we'd have to say that Patrick Mahomes is probably pushing closer now to the catching up with the top guys after having another pretty good game. And put, I mean, Kirk Cousins certainly played like an MVP to my dismay for some reason. I don't know why he had to throw 450 yards suddenly, but still, I mean, the team's almost close to 500. I think we have to bring the name up. If they keep winning and they play like that and they produce offensively like that, he was unstoppable. He was best quarterback this weekend by far. And I have no idea why, but maybe that's the name we have to bring up. I'm still going with Tua. Do you have a take here?
Yeah, I do. I'm still going with Tua because if you adjust for time of possession in that game with the Eagles, Lamar actually played just as well as Jalen Hurts. I know a lot of people are really down on Tua all of a sudden over one game, but if you look at the stats, adjusted for time of possession, they were on about the same pace. It's just that the Eagles controlled the time of possession, and there were some refs helping the Eagles win that game in the end. But I still have Tua at number 1. Lamar throws his name in the hat, I think, with that. He's had some bad games, but all of these guys have had some bad games. Mahomes is right back in the mix, and then after that, it's kind of a bottleneck with Hurts maybe following it up. I don't believe it's going to last, but it may. And then there's Purdy, Allen, and Goff just fighting for that last position.
Yeah, it's tight one. Tight one. It's definitely closing up a little bit. We thought we had Tua sort of as a runaway guy. But we'll see how it turns out. It's good to have a sort of more exciting race for a longer time. Before we get into these picks for this week, we have a game that we play every week now, which is called Guess the Biggest Spread. And that is your game. And I'm asking you to guess the biggest spread for Week 8. All these games on the slate today.
Yeah, a ton of games. We're back to full schedule here. I see a couple that really stand out. You would think the Lions and Raiders, but that probably closed in after the week the Lions had. The Bills and Bucks, that probably closed in also. But if you would have went back before this week, both of those games would have been a really big spread in my opinion. But it is what it is at this point in time. The Dolphins coming off of what people consider to be a bad game against the Patriots, but the Patriots are getting better, so I can't really go with that. It comes down to two games, and I really don't know which one to pick. It's the Ravens and the Cardinals and the Chiefs and Broncos. I'm going to say since the Broncos never beat the Chiefs, and it's been probably 8-9 years or something like that since they've beaten the Chiefs, I'll go with the Chiefs and Broncos.
That's actually not the correct answer, though I'll say I would have totally guessed it as well. I think that what makes a difference here is home field because they're playing in Denver.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas you have some other of the big favorites playing at home. In fact, all of the bigger spread favorites playing at home, except for Baltimore. We'll get to the biggest spread when we get to the game. So before we pick these games, what is our results, our standings from last week?
Not good at all. It was the worst week I think we've ever had on this show. And we've been doing this, this is our 5th season? Like, this is ridiculous.
So. It's been a while.
The total, I'll go ahead and tell you the total first. 4-5. You got 5. I got 4.
Damn.
Out of, what do we have, 13 games last week? Yeah,
13 games. Man.
This whole week made absolutely no sense.
It was a crazy weekend.
It was, yeah. I mean, we disagreed on the Jaguars and Saints. I actually got that one. That was the last one I had over you. You picked the Commanders, and I picked the Giants. You picked the Steelers, and I picked the Rams. So you got an extra point. That brings our total 58 for me, 63 for you.
Wait, didn't the Giants win? Or am I crazy?
Did I look it up wrong? Hold on.
If those were the 3... Yeah, Giants won against Washington. So
I wrote it up
If those
wrong.
are the 3, it's actually a point for you.
Yeah, so I actually gained a point on you. Wow. Yeah. See, you shouldn't have said anything.
Actually, I should keep the honorary point because I was very close to picking the Patriots. Like, I was about to do it, and then somehow sanity came over me, and I didn't. And I wish I had, because I would have started my own guru business if I pulled that off. If I just went with it last week and it happened. Yeah. I could be doing the guru thing this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like I don't know if you saw it, but I told you in Discord earlier that 5 of the last 6 games, all of the losers scored 17 points exactly. So that's something to put in the chain of conspiracy theory.
That has to mean something.
Absolutely.
Wonder what that could be. We'll figure it out. It's a prime number for 1. So there's some inherent disharmony in the universe going on. We'll have to dig deeper into what's going on with that. We'll investigate that during the week. Before that, week 8, full slate, no bye weeks. Starting off Thursday night, Bucks at Bills.
Yeah, Bucks went out in glorious fashion. They lost to the Falcons. That was a close game, much closer than it should have been, but Desmond Ridder had a few fumbles that let that game get close. Baker was out there playing hero ball, and sometimes that actually works for him. Sometimes it doesn't. I would say more times it does not work out for Baker. He loves hero ball. That's what he played in college, and he's been doing it ever since. I'm sure it drives the OC mad. The Bills on the other side are coming off of that horrible loss. They were mad, too. Even Josh Allen, they were just mad after this game. Stephon Diggs had a great game, but other than that, the rest of the team was horribly upset. I'll take the Bills. I'll take the Bills at home. They should win this one. They should get back on track. Maybe it's a get-right game for them.
Yeah, I'm pretty down on the Bills, I must say. I'll take them to win because the Bucks are just not that good. Bills are a better team. But they got to get it right. They got to right the ship here pretty quick because suddenly it's looking difficult. Like the AFC is no cakewalk. We already know that all the good quarterbacks are in the AFC. All the playoff teams is going to be murderer's row. So the Bills got to pick it up. Otherwise, they're going to be sitting there, 5th, 6th, 7th seed, and they're going to be climbing uphill right from the start. And the games like these, also, of course, the game at New England was absolutely a must-win. And they got to get it together. I think they do here. I think they will get it done against the Bucks, who themselves haven't been looking too productive recently. But this is a pressure game for the Bills, especially considering they're at home. Texans and Panthers.
This one's pretty simple, right? C.J. Stroud went number 2 in the draft, right? I believe so. Yeah. So Bryce Young went number 1. These teams have pretty equivalent quarterbacks, right? I'm going with the team that has had much more luck with their brand new quarterback this season. Overall, the Texans are just better right now than the Panthers. I'll take the Texans on the road.
I do agree with what you're saying. So far, CJ Stroud's been looking a lot better. The Texans seem to be a lot more functioning of an organization, both, of course, with first-year head coaches. Well, Frank Reich is not technically a first-year head coach in the league, but first year with the Panthers. But it's not looking too good in Pantherland. Whereas the Texans, I think they have some cause for jubilation here. So I will agree with your take there as well. Though I'm still holding out for when I can finally pick that first Carolina win and play hero ball myself. I don't think this one's it. I think Texans make easy work of the Panthers here. Rams and Cowboys.
Yeah, the Cowboys are coming off of a bye. They should be rested. You never know when the Cowboys are just going to blow a game for absolutely no reason. The Rams lost in heartbreaking fashion over to the Steelers, which I'm not mad about that. I like the Steelers, so I did pick the Rams to win that one, and they couldn't hang on. Puka Nacua is on an absolute tear, and he is going to break all kind of rookie receiving records over Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and all of them if this continues. It's a crazy run, but right now, overall, that defense is much better from the Cowboys, and the Rams know how to lose. I will be taking the Cowboys at home.
So Cowboys are coming off a bye week here, if I'm not mistaken. Rams coming off of that game. Controversial loss, I guess, let's say, against the Steelers, which I picked, by the way, and I'm very glad that happened. This is a difficult one, because I think this kind of game is going to be very close. I'll give the points to the home team. I'm taking Dallas, mostly for the home field advantage. Not that the Rams ever have something called a home field advantage, because I don't know if you've paid attention to it, but when the LA teams play at home, the majority of fans is always a road team, like every time, especially if you have organizations like the Steelers, they're like the historical teams. It sounds like a home team for the road team, home game for the road team every time they play in LA. But Dallas is a difficult environment to play in. I think coming off the bye week, they'll be able to take advantage and beat the Rams here. Vikings and Packers.
Yeah, these two quarterbacks are on different trajectories at the time. Kirk Cousins, always that mediocre quarterback that's going to win quite a bit of games if he has a team around him to do it. This might be the first time I'm actually picking the Vikings this season, because I really don't think they're that great, but look at the 2 wins they're coming off of, and look what they did to the 49ers, which some people consider to be the best team in the league, so you got to give them credit for something here. The Packers, like I said earlier, are looking very dismal at this time, and it's a very young team, so maybe they'll pull it together for the future. If Jordan Love is still there in the future, who knows? They may be looking for that Michael Penix or one of those guys, or Drake May or something by the end of the season. But as for right now, I will be taking the Vikings on the road.
Yeah, this game that I saw Monday night, that kind of gave me very unpleasant flashbacks to, I want to say about 7 years ago, when the 49ers defense was the worst thing I've ever seen, and you just knew, like, oh, it's 3rd and 15. They're gonna get it. They're gonna get it anyway. Defense sucks. The corners get burnt on every single comeback route, every single outward, all the time, reliably. That's what I saw on Monday night. That offense minus Justin Jefferson, I mean, they were dunking it up and down the field. Unstoppable. I'm not saying they're like an incredible offense. They're good. It was a terrible performance by the Niners defense, and hopefully they'll learn from that and they get humbled from that, because that's very necessary at this point. That was a terrible showing. Not worth staying up all night for me. For the Vikings, I think last year they were very overrated and they won all the close games. They were like an average team and they won a lot more than they should have. This year, I think they're largely the same team, just they started losing all those games at the start for some reason. So they're kind of an underrated team start of the season, and I think that's going to even out a little bit as they're going to keep playing up to the level they're supposed to. Without Justin Jefferson, they are going to go into Green Bay and get a rare win, which hasn't happened for a while. But Vikings win at Green Bay. Packers are looking rough, another team you could put up there with the Raiders. The Saints and the Colts.
Yeah, coming off of a horrible loss to the Jaguars. It was much closer than that game should have been because the Jaguars just kind of beat the Saints. But looking at the final score, you would think it was much closer than what it was. They were losing that for the entire game, and I don't think there was any chance of them winning, in my opinion. But the Saints are bad, and I like to see it. The Colts are coming off of a very, very close loss. They almost won that game against the Browns. Now, the Browns have P.J. Walker at quarterback, so I don't... But then again, it was a 39-38 shootout. So I got to give credit to the Colts here. Gardner Minshew can throw the ball, and he is very serviceable. I don't like the Saints. I'll be taking the Colts at home.
Give me the Colts. Should have won the game against Cleveland. Deserved to win the game against Cleveland. Some ref ball involved, but Gardner Minshew, backup quarterback versus backup quarterback, and Minshew's been looking very serviceable, as has P.J. Walker. He's been better than Deshaun Watson so far. The games that he's played, winning 2 games now, they kept Deshaun Watson. I would say they would have protected him from his... he went through concussion protocol. I think he got cleared, and then they just kept him out. They're like, well, we'll protect him. I feel like there's a notion there of, well, I think PJ Walker's kind of doing a good job. There's no reason to take him out of there, which is hard to say. You can't really say that post game because you've spent so much money on Watson, but I think that was a thought there. So I don't know if PJ Walker's starting this game, if they're going to take their time with the Watson return or what's going to happen, but that's for later anyway when the Browns play. For this one, give me the Colts. If they score like they did last week, they're winning. Patriots at the Dolphins.
Yeah, this should be a get-right game, but as the Bills found out, am I confused? Didn't the Dolphins already lose to the Patriots once this year? Is that the Patriots' only other win?
I don't think so. The
Dolphins
lost to the Bills.
Okay.
Lost to the Bills, yeah. That 20-40 thing.
But they have 2 losses now, right?
Yeah, the Eagles and the Bills.
Oh, the Eagles. Yeah, well, that makes sense. That was just last week. All right, so this is the first meeting, and it is in Miami. So even when the Patriots were on top, they tend to lose in Miami against the Dolphins, and the Dolphins should treat this like a get-right game. And like I said, the Dolphins didn't play as bad as the media is painting them in that game. It was just time of possession and penalties, which the Eagles had absolutely no penalties. We'll talk about that later. The Dolphins, I will be taking them at home.
Yeah, I agree with that. And this is, by the way, this is the biggest spread of the weekend.
Oh, really?
Bit surprising to me. They are at home. They just lost. The Patriots just won. I would imagine that had the Dolphins won, the Patriots lost. This must have been like a 14-point spread. So I'm a bit surprised by this size of spread, 9.5 for the Miami Dolphins at home. That seems like a lot given what we've seen last week, though of course they are the better team, and it still makes sense to pick them. I would not touch this bet slip with a 10 football. No chance. I'm not giving them 10 against that because the Patriots just look pretty good. They deservedly won. They were the better team against Buffalo, and anything can happen here. 9.5 is too much, but I will take the Dolphins. By the way, the Dolphins are the team that's going to be on in-season Hard Knocks. Have you heard that yet?
Oh, no, I didn't hear that yet.
Yeah, they'll be with the Dolphins this year.
Is that going to curse the rest of their season?
I don't know. So far, it's not been great for the teams that have been on it, Colts and Cardinals.
Yeah.
They look pretty bleak, but we'll see. I'm curious to see the behind the scenes there with Mike McDaniel. He's a very particular type of coach. And I definitely want to see that. It's going to be good. We have the Jets and the Giants.
Yeah, the Battle of New York here. Every once in a while we get to see this, and it's always interesting because usually these two teams are really bad when they meet up. And I can't say that they're really good right now, but they are. Jets are coming off of a bye and a win before the bye. The Giants are coming off of a win, so maybe this will be an interesting game. They both still have lots to play for. Either one of them could turn the season around. I think the Jets are in a better position at this time. And they both might be looking for quarterbacks after this season. Actually, I don't know, because Daniel Jones got a new contract this past year. Man, I hate it because he has all the potential, but I don't know if it's going to work out in the long run. But as for right now, I think I'll take the better defense and say the Jets on the road.
It's a difficult one to pick.
Not even on the road, though, right? So
not really. I don't know how it's going to be. They're both kind of playing at home.
Yeah.
In their home stadium there, but we don't know necessarily about the quarterback situation with the Giants, I think, or is there confirmation? Is Daniel Jones going to be out for longer?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because we might still see Tyrod Taylor in this one. Either way, I mean, some people are saying that Tyrod's playing better than Daniel Jones anyway.
It's a difficult one. I will. At risk of still not having a single disagreement, I'm still going with the Jets as well. I think they're, defensively just a more dominant team. Giants just put up a very good defensive performance, though, I must say, against the Commanders. They really get to the quarterback. Both these teams can rush the passer. I'm looking for a pretty low-scoring game here, to be honest. This is not going to be pretty. Probably terrible weather anyway, and I'm thinking kind of like a 10-6 sort of game here, but I will take the Jets. Jaguars and the Steelers.
Wow, this is actually a tough one because, like I predicted, the Jaguars are taking over this division, and I believe they're going to continue to get better throughout the season. They had a little stumble at the beginning of the season here, but second and third game, whatever it was. But here, it seems that they're getting back on track. They seem to be getting better, but so do the Steelers. I picked both of these teams to win their divisions. And I think they're both going to be getting better throughout the season, along with the Falcons. We'll talk about them next. But as for right now, I feel like whichever one I pick is the other one's going to win. Because I think they are somewhat closely matched. But all in all, the Jaguars seem to have a better offense. And the Steelers seem to have a better defense. It's still tough. I think I'll go with... I can't even go with momentum. I'll just take the Jaguars on the road and hope they win.
This is a tough one considering what the Steelers just did. Jacksonville's been looking good. They're smelling blood in the AFC here. I'm going to lean out a little bit on this one. I'm actually going to take the risk here. I'll take the Steelers. I think they've had two very, very strong and solid games back to back. And Pickett and Pickens are finding their groove, which is something that you've been predicting for a while now, for months and really years. That this will be a dangerous offense when that happens. I think that has happened, and I think they'll shock some people. They'll have a breakout win. The Steelers don't have losing seasons under Mike Tomlin, and I say they hold this one at home against Jacksonville. Your Falcons at the Titans.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are still down on the Falcons even after a win. I'm sorry, I watch these games, I watch the Falcons games, like really watch and really pay attention to what's going on, whereas most people just see the final score, the box score, and they judge the Falcons how they are. They see the fumbles, they see the turnovers. If we can clean those turnovers up, Desmond Ridder is really good with that run-pass option. He would have had 2 rushing touchdowns in this game. And I've been saying that for a while. If Arthur Smith would let the guy play a little bit of hero ball, let him run, he was the fastest quarterback in that draft class. And he's up in the upper echelon of quick quarterbacks in this league. So I think this team has so much more potential than what they're putting out on the field. I don't like that Arthur Smith plays it conservative, but he seems to be opening up a little bit. He's still afraid of those turnovers, but maybe we'll clean those up. The Titans are just bad at this time, and I think this is a winnable game for the Falcons. We will win this one on the road.
I agree with you again. Falcons in position to take control of the division after that win against the Bucs. That was incredibly important. It came down to the wire, and the Falcons have seen themselves on the losing side of a lot of those games in recent memory, so it's good to see that they finally got it done here. The debate is going to keep going on about Desmond Ridder, Kyle Pitts, those kind of personalities. Are they really worth their money? Is this really a team that can win playoff games or make the playoffs in the first place? I guess this is the first hurdle to cross, but so far at this moment, it's looking like they have a chance. And I know 2-3 weeks ago, you sat here and you actually walked me through the remaining Falcons schedule, and you said, this is easy. This is an easy schedule. And there's probably no excuse to miss the playoffs at this point this year. I think anything but making the playoffs would be considered a disappointment for the Falcons, given where we are this week. And I assume you agree with that. So absolutely. I will take them to beat Tennessee as well, establish themselves there in the NFC South. Eagles and the Washington Commies.
Yeah, here's a conspiracy theory. I actually have two of them on this slate. Is there a reason that the NFL absolutely want the Eagles to go deep into the playoffs? Do they just need them to make Super Bowls or something? Is it the fan base? What's going on here? Because they deserved quite a few penalties, and Dolphins received all of their penalties, if not more than what they deserved. The Eagles got absolutely none in that win. I don't know, man. It feels like the NFL might be pushing the Eagles for some reason here. I don't think the Eagles are as good as their record indicates. I think they had a lot of help last week, and I think the Dolphins are an overall better team than the Eagles right now. But either way, it's the Commanders, and the Commanders are not really... They're not going to... I don't even think they have a shot at this division at this point anymore. I'll take the Eagles on the road.
Agree. Take the Eagles. Yeah, what is the reason that the Eagles have been getting an awful lot of favorable calls recently?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, but I think it's definitely clear they have. What's behind? I don't know what's behind that. Are they making up for the debatable holding call in the Super Bowl? But that doesn't make sense. No. I don't know. It could be coincidence, but I'm not so sure. It's looking pretty starting to look pretty suspicious. We'll see how it keeps going. In particular, it's important in the competitive games, right? This is a game against Washington where they don't need it. They're not gonna need it, and they're gonna win. They're still a top 5 team. But in these games, like the Dolphins, like we've seen, if there's such a disparity between who penalties are called on and how blatantly, obviously bad calls are being made, that's what we have to take a closer look at if that keeps happening in future games. But this one, I think, even without controversy, the Eagles are going to win this one in Washington. Browns at the Seahawks.
Myles Garrett is on a career season this year, and I think he's kind of the glue that's holding that defense together. Even though they're still giving up points, Myles Garrett is having a hell of a season. This game is really almost too close to call for me. If this is neutral field, I say it's a pick'em. And I don't know. I want to go with momentum, but they both kind of have the momentum here. Seahawks coming off that win over the Cardinals, which is absolutely doing nothing for them because it's the Cardinals. I think their record is better than this team is in the long run, but maybe for the Browns also, if it's PJ Walker, or maybe Deshaun Watson will be back like you said earlier. I'm gonna say that Deshaun Watson gets back here, and that makes the Browns just a tick better than the Seahawks. Even on the road, I'll take the Browns.
This is a very hard game. I think this is the hardest one that I'm looking at here, because Seattle... I don't want them to win, obviously. I don't want the Browns to win either, but Seattle even less so. The Browns coming off back-to-back wins, both of which they easily could and probably should have lost if it weren't for debatable ref ball and a ton of things going their way. But then again, you don't want to discredit PJ Walker for what he's been doing. I'm going to say the fairy tale kind of ends today. I'll say the Seahawks win this one. In a close one, for sure. But I think the Browns have gotten disproportionately many breaks over the last 2 weeks, and that is usually not sustainable. So I think this is going to be a sort of a back to reality kind of game for the Browns at Seattle, which is still a very hostile environment, even if the team isn't as good as it used to be at its best times anymore. And the Seahawks win. I don't like to say it, just be rooting for the Browns, but I think Seattle gets it done. So this is that our second disagreement, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we had the Steelers and now Seattle. Okay, the Ravens and the Cardinals.
This is my other conspiracy theory right here, right? This is big news that's going on. So I was listening to a podcast. They were recapping the week, right? And someone on that podcast mentioned it almost looked like the Ravens had the Lions' play calls before they called them somehow. And that they just shut them down at every angle. Everything they called, they were shut down immediately. And the Ravens ran all over the Lions, who are a really good team. So here's the thing. In college football, there is huge news going on right now about Michigan stealing signs. And this is almost proven at this point. Jim Harbaugh hired someone, an Army code breaker, to actually go to all of the Big Ten teams' games and steal their signs. And he's doing it because he's a code breaker and he can figure out things like that. This is happening in real life. His brother just did the same thing to the Ravens, in theory, allegedly.
Okay. Wow. Oh, right.
So, maybe it's happening on multiple levels here, and the Ravens just ran all over the Lions because of it. But, all in all, it's against the Cardinals. I'm taking the Ravens on the road.
I have two things to possibly rain on your theory parade here a little bit. The whole Michigan thing seems more than suspicious to me with the stuff that's coming out of that. Seems like really nothing out of the ordinary at all. And also, secondly, the NFL doesn't really do signs that much, right? The quarterbacks in the NFL are allowed to have microphones. In college, they're not. So in college, you'll have all the hand signaling and symbolism and everything coming in because every play has to come in from the sideline manually. In the NFL, you don't really get that. So unless you get your hands on like a physical play sheet, there's not a lot of gestures or symbolics that you can figure out. Unless the Ravens have somehow planted like one of their agents in their Lions coaching staff. I don't think that's possible. I played well.
You can't call out now signal stealing because it has happened multiple times in the past.
Yeah. It has. I mean, Patriots are famous for taping other teams' practices and like cheating in various ways. But I think the Lions just play terrible in this one. We'll see if it keeps going like that with the Ravens, but I'm not as high on the conspiracy meter on this one particular, both for Michigan and for the Ravens. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep observing. I will take the Ravens to beat the Cardinals, by the way, if I hadn't made that particularly clear yet. Ravens are probably smelling blood in the AFC. Some teams have fallen off, and after that win, they're going to shoot up in the power rankings. People will have them in the top 5. Arizona's incredibly mediocre. So Ravens win at Arizona. Did you pick them as well, just to be sure, because it didn't hear?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I just to be clear, I like Lamar Jackson. That's one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch, and I'm not mad at the Ravens. So, yeah, that was just a theory that came up because of his brother is in hot water for doing that.
Trying to draw the parallels, yeah. Yeah,
I want to be a guru also here. I mean,
me too.
Figure out these conspiracies. Yeah,
we'll see who makes the first real guru decision. I should have had it with the Patriots, but
true.
I'll give you a chance to make a guru decision right now. Actually, Chiefs at Denver.
No way I'm making that decision. There is no way. Like I said earlier, the Broncos have lost to the Chiefs for how many years now? And the Broncos are, they're coming off of a win, but it's over the Packers. 19-17. That's one of them 17 games. There is no way I can pick the Broncos in this. The Chiefs are getting better. They had a few bumps in the road, and they didn't look like themselves early in the season. But now that Travis Kelce has his feet back under him, literally, and he's playing much better. And I think he almost went for 200 yards in that game. I'd have to look back, but I know it was a lot. I think which one was it? One of the receivers got in trouble for reckless driving or something today. I don't think it's going to matter in this game, though. It's the Broncos, and I don't like Sean Payton. I'll pick the Chiefs on the road.
Yeah, this would be the guru pick. I'm not going to make it this time. I think this is probably even more out there than the Patriots-Bills thing, considering the history in that division. Chiefs to win it, but I don't know if we're gonna make very good gurus if we don't take the favorites. We have to make the biggest possible underdog picks sometimes.
Yeah.
For these ones, I'll have to work on that.
Have to get a theory that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. We have to have a narrative. Mm-hmm. We'll see. Maybe we'll come up with something there. Bengals at the Niners.
I don't even know after the 49ers' last two games if I picked the Bengals, if that would be a big enough out on a limb pick.
I don't think it would be.
I don't know what's happening to the 49ers, man. I thought it was just the Browns' defense played that well, but here's two games in a row where they're just not playing up to par. But then the Bengals are not having a great season also. They're coming off of a bye, which may help them. Maybe they'll get it together. This may be the game where the Bengals actually put something over on the 49ers. But I feel like the 49ers are way better than the last two games. I mean, look what they did to the Cowboys. And look how the Bengals have been beat up so much this year. It's tough to just say, okay, now after the last two games, I got to go with the Bengals. I don't think I can do that, so I'm going to go ahead and pick the 49ers at home.
Man, I don't like this game at all. I looked at the schedule today and I'm like, I hate seeing everything about this I don't like.
It's at home, though.
It's at home, and they're coming back from two terrible games on the road, which should be some encouragement. But the Bengals are, I think, coming off a bye week. They had really just been catching momentum. We know they're a very good team, and we know that they're a very good passing team. And after seeing what Kirk Cousins, without Justin Jefferson, with some guys I've never heard of, and TJ Hawkinson did just now on Monday night to this secondary, this could be a problem. If things look the same for the Niners defensively, this will be an issue against teams like the Bengals. And this is very, very, very seriously be a competitive game with the Bengals here and the Niners. I'm going to put my faith in the Niners to say they'll get it done back home, have everyone healthy, hopefully Trent Williams back, hopefully McCaffrey at 100%. Deebo Samuel, we don't know yet exactly. It's kind of week-to-week situation with that hairline fracture in his shoulder. But it's clear that they need everyone healthy and on deck. And defensively, some things need to be worked out. And hopefully this can be a get-right game for the Niners at home. I still believe it can, and I'm picking them. But this is the third one in a row. We have to think about some things, because suddenly, soon we have to play Seattle twice, and they're not going away completely. So the division isn't won, and I hope that at 5-0 they didn't kind of turn on the autopilot and thought, okay, the division's over, it's done, we win. Hopefully these two games are a wake-up call. Hopefully they put it together again, but I'll take them here. Bears and the Chargers.
What if I told you before the season started that the Bears are going to be going into Week 8 with an undrafted free agent rookie quarterback that no one has heard of, and coming off of a win with the same record as the Chargers right here? And I don't know what the odds say, but I bet they're much closer than anyone would have thought it would have been. I really don't know who I want to pick. Is Tyson Bagent for real? Who knows? I mean, is Justin Fields going to come back anytime soon? All these things are up in the air. The Chargers are playing absolutely horrible. They should be way better than this. Talk about playing under your abilities. The Chargers are just letting this season slip away. Oh man, Phillip Rivers, that's not looking good for him these days. I don't know. I feel like the Bears have to come back down to earth with their quarterback. I'm assuming Tyson's going to start this one, and it's not going to work out forever, right? I mean, he's an undrafted free agent for a reason. I'm going to say let's let this be a get-right game for the Chargers. I will take the Chargers at home.
I also take the Chargers. The fact that they have the same record is absurd. It's a joke.
Yes.
It's absolutely ridiculous in every way. The odds don't reflect it. The odds see an overachiever in the Bears, underachiever in the Chargers. 8.5 points.
Wow.
For the Chargers, the spread is. And that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lot. I'll say this, though. The Bears win this game, they might have a quarterback. Or Justin Fields might be looking for employment, too. Because they've looked so much better with this guy Tyson Bagent, whatever his name is, than they have with Fields. And I learned just this week that there's several Heisman trophies in college football. Like, apparently there's a Heisman trophy for every division, and Tyson Bagent actually won the Heisman trophy of D2 football, which I didn't know that. He was undrafted, and now he's tearing up the NFL for some reason. I'm sticking with the Chargers, though. It's the same pick to make. Raiders and the Lions, last one.
A D2 quarterback. When's the last time a D2 quarterback got to be a starter in the NFL? Wow, I bet it's been some time. I can't think of one right offhand. The Raiders and the Lions. The Lions are coming off that horrible loss where the Ravens were just stealing their plays all game and shutting them down, obviously. The Lions are way better than that. They shouldn't be beat up like that. We've seen how good they are. They beat the Chiefs, for God's sake. Like, this team is really good. They just had a really bad week, and I'm guessing they're going to get over it, especially against a poor, lonely team like the Raiders, like Brian Hoyer. Man, I thought Brian Hoyer was the pick over this Tyson Bagent kid that nobody knew who he was. Obviously, it wasn't. Brian Hoyer's horrible. I guess he's always been. Maybe his little bit of run with the Texans at one point and the Patriots, he kind of looked okay for a game or two, but overall, he's not a starting quarterback. I'm going to say the Lions have a get-right game. Also, I'll be taking them at home.
I agree. I'll take the Lions here to win this one as well. In fact, I'm going to make a kind of a guru prediction here.
All right.
I'm going to say this is Monday night game. By the time next week's scoreboard drops, I think the Raiders have a new head coach.
Oh, wow. Wow.
7 days from this episode coming out, the Raiders have a new head coach. That's my guru pick.
I'd like to see it. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's entirely possible. He could be the first domino falling here.
I've never been a Josh McDaniels fan, so yeah, bring it on. I mean, not only because of the Patriots. I mean, I just really don't like the guy.
Yeah, exactly. And just the track record has not been looking good.
Mm-hmm.
The team hasn't been turned around. Of course, kind of in quarterback hell at the moment as well. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo's back, maybe not. You never really rely on the guy, unfortunately, to stay healthy for a whole 60 minutes or let alone a whole season. So who knows? I'll take the Lions. There's my bold prediction. And if it happens to come true, I think next week I'm gonna start selling my story to some newspapers or something. I'm gonna try to commercialize my psychic abilities.
Yeah, you can go head to head with Zach Hubbard there.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens there, because then the season's over anyway. But that's all our picks. Reminder again, if you want to vote for your current MVP favorite or frontrunner, whoever you think is most likely to win, if the season ended today, you can do that on our channel page. And let us know. Last week we had Tua still with a comfortable advantage, 45% of the votes. Let's see how it looks this week. If he's still ahead, or it's hard for me to even think who the top 4 or 5 are this week, because it's gotten closer with all the sort of second tier has played good. Mahomes and then Jackson are getting closer now, so we'll see. We'll see. I'm curious to hear it, so go please and vote. Let us know what you think about these games, and drop us a like. Smokey, do you have anything to add for this week?
No, I think that's it. Just shut down the sign stealing.
Yeah, Exactly. If that's the thing, we'll see. We'll see what happens here in the NFL. Thank you for watching. Drop us a like, and we'll see you in the next one.
Deuces.
Check the scoreboard. Ha. Check.